Good morning, wrestling fans. Today is Saturday, August 10th, 2024. Lance Brock here. Hope everyone is having a great and awesome Saturday morning so far. Yesterday on Good Morning Wrestling Fans, I talked about the unfortunate passing of pro wrestling legend Kevin Sullivan at 74. And I was a little disappointed in myself that I did not talk too much about his early career. And I did talk about, of course, the Taskmaster and him being a booker in WCW in the 90s for a lot of WCW success. And they talked, Sullivan has talked about before with Goldberg how a lot of people just saw a bald guy, goatee, black trunks, black boots, that it was just a copy off of Stone Cold. But Sullivan actually said that he was actually modeling him after Mike Tyson. But sorry, didn't mean to get into that. And last night, WWE airing a very nice tribute video on SmackDown last night, and AEW also on Rampage, adding a graphic at the beginning. Good to see both promotions show respect to a legend in the business, Kevin Sullivan. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, on this episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans, I kind of wanted to get more into his early career, since unfortunately I didn't get to. But he started in 1970, in the early 1970s, I should say, and captured the NWA Gulf Coast Tag Team Championships with Kevin Lucas. And then next, he would go to Championship Wrestling from Florida, where he would have a successful run. And in 1972, captured the NWA Florida Tag Team Championships with Mike Graham. And then, actually, he did work for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the WWF, which, of course, Vince McMahon Sr.'s promotion, which I believe really is the closest that he was to having a WWE run or anything, was working for Vince Sr. He battled Pete Sanchez, who unfortunately also recently passed away not too long ago, in Madison Square Garden on the lower card, and teamed with Austin Idol, and they faced the Fabulous Freebirds for the NWA Georgia Tag Team Championships in November 1980. Had a feud there. He worked in the CWF in the early 1980s, and late 1980, he won the NWA National Television Championship from Steve Keirn. And 1981, he worked a little in Memphis with Wayne Ferris, of course, the Honky Tonk Man. Before he was the Honky Tonk Man, I should say. And then he would go on to face Jerry the King Lawler, who of course a lot of people face when they go to Memphis, and Buzz Sawyer, Eddie Graham. And then his character would turn darker, then become the Prince of Darkness, and that new gimmick. And then in the CWF, he became associated with Maniac Mark Lewin, Mike Davis, Bob Roop, The Lock, and a young Luna Vachon. They'd be the Army of Darkness. They feuded with Dusty Rhodes, Barry Windham, Mike Graham. And then 1987 and 1991, he worked for Jim Crockett Promotions. And then 1992 to 1994, worked with Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain Wrestling for a couple of years. And then even had a run in ECW when it was Eastern Championship Wrestling. Teamed with Taz, who at the time was known as the Tazmaniac. And then in 1994, he returned to WCW, where he formed the Dungeon of Doom. Of course, I talked about that yesterday, and worked as a booker. One of the famous times was with Brian Pillman, who came out and said, "I respect you, Booker Man," which at the time, you didn't really see them break kayfabe as much on air like that. And he worked with WCW pretty much till the end in 2001. And he stayed in wrestling, of course, and he had one or two stints in TNA even, and then of course different independent promotions all over. And I talked about the MSL and Sullivan podcast on the MLW radio network. And I remember then he used to speak a lot of Hammerstone, who at the time was working the different indie promotions, now in TNA, of course. But he will definitely be missed. I saw a lot of people tweet about how he had a great mind for the business. And like I said, I thought it was very nice of both WWE and AEW to pay tribute. And once again, he will be missed. And I hope to be back soon with more episodes. Maybe 360 Wrestling Fanatic again soon, so I can talk more about some of the news that's going on in the world of pro wrestling. And we have AEW Collision tonight. I will be back tomorrow morning with the Sunday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. So everyone, thank you for tuning in to this Saturday morning episode. And remember, in the comment section, once again, you can leave any comment about Kevin Sullivan, whether it's a favorite moment, a favorite match, either right here on Spreaker, YouTube, or wherever you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcasts at. But until tomorrow morning, have a great pro wrestling day.